नमस्कार। अब हामी रेडियो नेपालबाट यो प्रोग्राम सुनाउँदैछौँ। गोपाल योन्जन नेपालको नामी कलाकार, कम्पोजर, नेपाली सङ्गीतको राजदूत र गुरु को बारेमा अलिकति कथाहरू सुनाउने विचार छ। मेरो नाम जेफ क्याम्बल अथवा जहाफर खान azad darakth र नेपाली साथीहरूलाई मुरली गरेर बोलाउँछ मलाई। Welcome. It's a great pleasure to share some stories about the famous musician, composer, instrumentalist, vocalist, and ambassador for Nepali music, who it was my pleasure to study with and who was my guru for some time when I was a young ethnomusicologist student in Nepal, interested in the popular or adhunik music of Nepal. And when I arrived there, I asked around who would be a good person to meet and possibly study with. And everyone said, Gopal Yonjan, of course. So for about 6-7 months in mid-1970s, it was a great pleasure to regularly visit and study with Gopal Dai. 1975 तिर 6-7 महिना लगातार म चाहिँ नेपालमा गोपाल दाईसँग अलिकति नेपाली आधुनिक सङ्गीतको बारेमा सिक्नु चाहिँ मौका पाएँ. One of the great things was that in addition to all of the other skills and talents which Gopal Dai had, was he also played bansuri, in addition to harmonium, of course. So what could have been better? उहाँ चाहिँ बाँसुरीको पनि कलाकार थियो. अब मलाई चाहिँ एकदम fit भयो. So the great thing about going to study and learn with Gopal Yonjan was the wide range of his knowledge and skills. For instance, at one level, he was one of the most widely loved and respected composers and also performed on Adhunik Sangeet. मखमली छोली चाहिँदैन, रेशमाको साडी चाहिँदैन. That was one of his wonderful songs and a big hit. Of course, Gopal Dai was a wonderful musician, but also a great father, husband, colleague, and had a wide career of composing, performing, and teaching. One of the great pleasures as a young 19, 20-year-old, of course, was to go to Padma Kanya College and go to see my guru. Meanwhile, passing all of the young and beautiful sari-clad students there. म चाहिँ अहिलेसम्म म सम्झिन्छु उहाँ चाहिँ गुरुको रूपमा पद्मा कन्या कलेजमा पढाउनुहुन्थ्यो र म चाहिँ त्यहाँ एकदम खुसीले जान्थेँ भेट्न, किनभने अब 19-20 वर्षको केटालाई त्यहाँ पद्मा कन्या कलेजमा भित्र जाने एउटा चाहिँ मौका पाएँ. It was great. It was great fun. Gopal was also, of course, an ethnomusicologist himself. And one of the great things was that along the way of learning some of his compositions, he was quite happy to also share his knowledge of different musics of Nepal, starting from Kathmandu Valley and the Newari culture, of course. Processions of Newari musicians would play this while marching through Kathmandu on various important religious and holidays. They also had wonderful romantic music. Jina Chanke Maya, there's another Newari tune. I've forgotten many of these. Newari गीतहरूलाई पनि धेरै गोपाल दाइको नेवारी गीतको जानकारी पनि एकदम कम्प्रिहेन्सिभ थियो, एकदम उहाँले सबै कुरामा आउँथ्यो. अब शर्पातिर उतातिर गयो भने म्युजिकहरू यस्तो आधुनिकहरू नेपालको आधुनिक सङ्गीत लिँदा लोकगीतबाट धेरै नै इन्फ्लुएन्सहरू आएको थियो. तर शास्त्रीय सङ्गीतबाट पनि गोपाल दाई अब शास्त्रीय सङ्गीत पनि सिकाउनुहुन्थ्यो, किताब पनि लेख्नुभयो उहाँलाई शास्त्रीय सङ्गीतको बारेमा। र जहिले पनि अब जस्तो कि एउटा धुन सुन्दाखेरि जस्तो कि त्यो नेवारी जिना चङ्के माया मैले बजाएको त्यो चाहिँ उहाँलाई जहिले पनि भन्थ्यो यो फलाना यो रागमा छ त्यो, र दुईटा राग मिलाएर चाहिँ मिलाएको छ। जस्तो कि शिवरञ्जनीको उसमा राग शिवरञ्जनीको टच आउँछ त्यसमा। र शास्त्रीय सङ्गीतमा पनि उहाँलाई मलाई धेरै सिकाउनु भएको। Gopal I also knew a great deal about Indian classical music, because other than folk music, which is one of the key elements of popular music of Nepal, was also its basis in classical music. And whenever we would hear a folk tune or a contemporary popular Nepali song, he would mention the rag which it was in, or that it was a mixture of rags, such as that Newari tune Jina Chanke Maya, which is in large part based on Shivaranjani, though it has a different ma, etc. in it, which gives it that kind of color and flavor. Gopal Dai was extremely open-minded. He listened to all kinds of music. I remember later on when I started to get much more into avant-garde jazz and kind of free music, and he came to our house in Delhi, and I played some of this for him, and he listened very thoughtfully and was appreciated it, even though it was in a way quite mad. The other thing I think that's very important to say was that, again, you know, he was a very good bansuri player, and he didn't perform that often on the bansuri. But he taught me some very good tricks. For instance, for Rag Bhairavi, it's quite difficult to play on a bansuri normally. Rather than taking sa in its normal position, he said if you take sa from dha, then you in fact have a very relatively easy way to play Bhairavi. Many other tricks. His wide range of listening was also included ghazals. So I remember we were listening to Ranji Shahi Sa'i by Mehdi Hassan, the great Pakistani ghazal vocalist. And of course he immediately said, Rag Yamman Masatyo, that's in Rag Yamman. And I think it's very important also to mention Gopal Dai's, role as a family man, because Rinchen Didi was very, very both patient, of course, with all of the music always constantly going on in the house, but a wonderful supporter, and was very much involved in many of the productions that were put on during Gopal Dai's career, but then of course afterwards keeping that memory alive has been an incredible role for Rinchen Didi. And then of course Ahimsa, his son, also went into music, and you know, the whole family was involved in the arts and in dance, and even the grandchildren are keeping it up. So this is something I think really wonderful. Srijana, for instance, I think it's her daughter, I remember listening to her perform in Kathmandu many years later, the granddaughter. So this is really a wonderful legacy from a great composer who really inspired people, you know, not only in Nepal but in other parts of the world. One of the greatest things for me is that whenever I meet you know, Nepalis and we get to talk and the topic of music or something comes up, then of course if I tell them that Gopal daisanga mo sikheko, wow, Gopal Yonjan le चिन्नुहुन्छ कस्तो महन्त महाविद्वान कलाकार. So he had a great respect from all of us, and for me it was a wonderful opportunity both to be accepted in the family and to be taken on by Gopal Dai himself. You can see I've gotten a bit rusty. He wouldn't be so happy with that, so I'll have to do some more practice, that's for sure. But I just wanted to share a few of these memories from the time that I spent with the great Gopal Yonjan, and I encourage all of you to Google him, to look up on YouTube, and to buy various works, collected works and others, some of them featuring music from right across the spectrum in Nepal. And we really cherish the memory of Gopal Dai. Lauta, down.